Right. Hi everyone. So uh, I learned about some patterns, and I learned about strategy pattern, decorator pattern, um, factory pattern, and observer pattern. Also abstract factory. And let's jump right on the screen. Right. So yeah. So I learned about these patterns, and I made some notes for me. And I wanted to learn it in a way that it sticks. So I wanted to see what kind of solid principles do these patterns adhere to, and what kind of principles do they really provide. So I went through this, so I got this article generated, and I went through this a couple of times to understand and get the grasp of what these things are. But then I felt that I'm not really learning, so I wanted to jump to solving actual problems. And then I did two problems. I did tic-tac-toe and I did parking lot, and I got a bit overwhelmed. And this video is about that. This video is about why did I get overwhelmed, and what did I learn, what kind of a change of learning perspective I inculcated through that learning, and what do I think I must do to get out of this overwhelming phase. So let's begin with an example. So I wanted to design tic-tac-toe. I came through this nonsense. Uh, I thought this is a really good design, but when I started thinking about the design, and I started thinking about classes that I'll have, and I started building system, and when I started writing some code without jumping into video, I thought that I was getting a feeling that I'm not able to understand how my code is related to each other. So I started to build a diagram, and that diagram didn't make much sense. And I built my entire logic centered around a 3 cross 3 matrix. And when I uh, watched the video, the very first requirement was asking the user the dimension and then letting the user play in an n cross n matrix. And so my entire logic was centered around the game being 3 cross 3, my board being 3 cross 3. But now the interviewer wants me to design it in n cross n manner. And now my entire code is such tightly coupled that in order to change that 3 to n, I have to make 10 different changes, and I have to refactor my entire logic around it. So then I understood that okay, so this is a really good, or not a really good, but this is a decent and a good implementation, a good diagram, and this is very extensible. So your code needs to be extensible, and you have to keep that in mind. So you have to keep all the states in mind, and this can be different for different videos. So you can find 20 videos on tic-tac-toe on YouTube, and 20 of them will have entirely different implementations. So your code needs to be extensible. It needs to be strong enough to accommodate new kind of requirements. So that was one thing. But now I'll talk about one thing which really overwhelmed me. So you look at this design, right? This looks like a simple design. How many classes are there? How many boxes are there in Fast? There are just 6 boxes, right? So how many classes are there? There are less classes. But now, then I came across parking lot, a system. I wanted to design parking lot, and when I saw that video, what is a parking lot? Parking lot is a simple thing. Cars come, you give a spot to give a car a spot to park, then you generate the ticket, you calculate the bill, and then they leave. So it will be it'll be very simple, right? Entrance, parking spot, and then exit. I'll show you the design that I learned of a parking lot. This is tic-tac-toe, by the way, right? This is parking lot. This is how complex this simple seeming system became. And this is when I got really overwhelmed, because you can look at, I'll show you one example. So the parking spot has a general class. Now, because you need to take care of a two-wheeler parking spot and a four-wheeler parking spot, and suppose that you get a requirement that you want to accommodate trucks as well in your system. Now you need to have a six-wheeler. You can have a heavy-duty vehicle parking spot as well. So you need to have a parking spot manager. So a parking spot manager will now look at all these things. In order to manage this parking spot manager, you need to have a parking manager factory. And it needs to have a parking strategy. So it became very overwhelming and very harder to engulf it all in one go. So I guess that is what I wanted to talk about. I guess in order for me to have and like build all these systems by myself and then code these systems out, I need to practice a lot because uh, you need to remember a lot of states at once, and while remembering all of those states at once, you also need to remember all those relations that you have built. So if you started with a complex system, it is very hard to complete that complex system because you'll forget all these complex states. So diagrams really help, but still you have to remember all those relationships in between those classes. And a lot of these code will be reused, so you have to also take that in mind. So I guess I need to practice a lot. Um, Other than that, I guess that's it. I need to practice a lot. I need to understand why these patterns exist in the first place, so that it intuitively starts making sense. And whenever I don't have to force a pattern. I'm not forcing a pattern currently also. So, but with a lot of practice, these things will start becoming a lot more natural. And I'll show you the code, by the way. This simple or simple seeming uh, system design has this much code, right? So I coded this all, and there were a lot of mistakes in the beginning, so much so that I had to refactor it again and again and again and again, and so I had to code along at some places. Mm, because I'm also new to Java, and I have obviously gone through Java once, but the thing is that I don't know. I have coded a lot in C++, and I know data structures in C++, and um, there are different names for data structures in Java. I guess that I learned with a couple of iterations of problems. But so this is the code for Tic-Tac-Toe. Now imagine how complex the code for parking spot manager will be, or parking spot system design will be. So I guess that is the beauty of it. It is not a simple skill. It will take a lot of time, and it is really easy. One thing again which I wanted to talk about is that it is really easy to get convinced by your bad code thinking that it is the right code. So in order to break that delusion, you need to have a lot of requirements come in. So that is the reason that you need to see a lot of interview style videos, because that is when those notions or those fake patterns and say fake or bad code designs which you are validating currently will get broken, and you'll start thinking in a different sense and a new manner. So yeah, I guess that's it. That is what I wanted to talk about. um, it's been how long of a video? 8 minutes, I guess. Yeah, that is what I wanted to talk about. It is a beautiful skill, and I guess currently I am in that overwhelming state, but at least I know. Uh, I guess I know how to get through that. It'll be with a lot of practice and a lot of iterations that I start. It starts making intuitive sense to me. Uh, yeah, that's it. Uh, Bye.